see a lot of parallels with the Vietnam situation, which you're so familiar with and have so much experience with. And so I was wondering if you would share your personal ideas about what we should do with Vietnam, in that the general has asked for 40,000 troops. The other, Senator Kerrey, has said, we don't need that many. The president is wrestling with it right now. And I see so many parallels to what happened 50 years ago, is it, Vietnam? We're trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. And I think we're failing again.
Hear, hear.
Well, of course, this is a NATO operation. It is true that the United States is NATO. Without us, there's hardly an organization. But it's fundamentally different than either Iraq or Vietnam. I mean, I think a precipitous withdrawal is a mistake. I think there's no more than 5 or 10 years that is necessary for NATO to stay there. But it is no longer necessary for us to occupy a country. We don't have to occupy a nation in order to make it clear that if you're organizing inside that nation and you've declared a war on the United States and an attempt to kill us, and we're different than other nations. We've been identified by these organizations as the #1 enemy, as the head of the snake, as bin Laden described us. We're not France, we're not Germany, and other Western nations have been attacked, but we are enemy #1. And I refuse to believe it's because of our policy in the Middle East or because we've got a military base here or there or anywhere. Take away any of that stuff and they're still coming after us. But we've got to go to Afghanistan because that's where bin Laden and Al-Qaeda are. And I think it's connected to the great difference between their vision of the world and ours. And I don't think it's necessarily comparable to the Cold War, but I don't think they're going to go peacefully into the night. You know, when it comes to national security issues, public opinion can be dangerous. I mean, it can be dangerous. It can, we get all riled up. We're going to war, and then the next thing you know, we got some casualties. We want to get out.
It's always based on deception, just like both the time.
Well, deception's an interesting thing. It's true. It is true that there oftentimes is in those kinds of situations, but. Well, I mean, any of us who've been in that situation, I don't think anybody would call into question the goodness of World War II. But I've met and talked to a fair number of people who were in World War II, and they never thought it was any bed of roses either.
But you would call into question the Bushes and the Rockefellers funding the Nazi war machine if you were a real patriot.
Well, I don't know.
Wouldn't you?
I gotta seek another question. Yes, sir.
You can't handle a real question.
I want to change the subject a bit. You are the president of the school from which I graduated.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's been declassified that the Gulf of Tonkin never happened. I mean, that's declassified. They just lied about it and said it happened. And that led to Vietnam War and all the ramifications you spoke about that reach around the globe through time and geography. And if you look at through time and geography now, your son is 8 years old. I have a son too. It's everything to me. And that's why I'm really concerned about this. The world has changed since your son was born, a lot. If you look at geography right now about torture, where it's happening in Uzbekistan, Syria, everywhere, people are being boiled alive, having their fingernails pulled out while they're alive. I mean, they're being tortured. It's really disgusting what's happening. You look at the rights, our freedoms, that apparently we were attacked because of our freedoms, but our freedoms are being taken away pretty rapidly. Through our Constitution is being taken apart. And if you look at the freedoms around the world, and over a million Muslims have been slaughtered. If you look at how many people have died, how many people have been tortured, how many rights are being taken away around the world, and bring it all to one point of origin in time and geography, that's ground zero on 9/11. And you were on a 9/11 commission, so you can bemoan it as much as you want. But how closely has anyone really looked at what happened that day? And we trust the 9/11 commission, and again, you can bemoan it, but 110-story towers can't turn themselves into powder in 10 seconds, no matter what they tell you.
We're looking for
So,
questions.
yeah, so the question is, why you're on the 9/11 commission, you really participated in a whitewash. You didn't get to all the facts. Look up Building 7, folks. Just go on the internet and start there. It's an obvious, I'd ask my question, it's an obvious controlled demolition. How can you live with yourself when you have an 8-year-old son? How can you sleep at night that you help with a whitewash about what happened in 9/11?
Well, I'm not sure I do sleep well at night. Right now, I had a couple times to take a leak at night. You're looking for somebody that sleeps well at night. Look, when I was asked to, I had a full-time job. I don't think you understand the 9/11 Commission. And I'm actually an advocate of a permanent commission to examine not just what happened on that day, but try to give the American people an understanding of what goes on in the classified world, because it's very difficult for the oversight committees to get it done. And it's based upon my own experience. So, I mean, I didn't go on the commission until December before they finished their work, and it's a fair challenge. So I would never argue that the 9/11 Commission completed examining every single question possible.
Isn't the commission a way to not have it actually investigated? Shouldn't it go to the Attorney General?
Yeah, it's a crime.
No,
It's a crime.
I mean, you both of you, I think, misunderstand what the 9/11 Commission was.
Oh, we
I
do.
do that.
Well, okay, so I got 3 people.
It was a mass murder.
Seriously, look up Building 7.
The
Go home and
Taliban
look up
asked
Building
for
7.
white paper.
It's an
That's
obvious
enough.
controlled demolition.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the 9/11 Commission I'll tell you what it was. And you've got 535 people in Congress with full subpoena powers to investigate anything that you wanted to do. We were a temporary body. We had subpoena powers for less than a year, insufficient resources. The statute ended. We were out of business. We were all part-time people. We had limited time to be able to do the work. Most of us were not professionals. I probably had the most experience with the structures of the intelligence agencies because I'd been on the committee for 8 years. So to expect the 9/11 Commission is going to answer every damn question that you've got under the sun is an unreasonable expectation. You've got an intelligence committee in the House, an intelligence committee in the Senate, both armed services committee on both sides. And, I've had the joyous opportunity to have this conversation many times since we shut down and went out of business. You've got a Congress that has the power, in my view, to investigate and examine any question that you've got. And I do think a permanent commission is not just the answer to this, although it may not be the answer to your lines of questions, but I do think it's essential if you're going to operate in an environment where, whatever the reason, you put under wraps in a top secret way facts and things that are going on, and American people don't have access to them because it makes it difficult, I think, to maintain the confidence people need that the government's telling them, for the most part, the truth.
Here it is. That's a videotape replay.
Also were trapped by this. And here is the second tower that's coming down, and this was a similar situation. This defies belief.
But if it's a permanent cover-up, then if it's an act of war and it's hiding things, which everyone on your commission knew that the Pentagon was changing their stories, lying to you, and it's a cover-up of an act of war, and under Article 3, Section 3 of the Constitution, it's treason. So unless we get to the very bottom of it, then we're still talking a treasonous exposition.